Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Beyond the Evidence, the podcast where we dive deep into true crime cases, uncovering the facts and exploring the unanswered questions that keep us coming back for more. I'm your host, Marv, and I want to thank you for joining me today. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. And if you'd like to support the channel, you can find links to my PayPal and Cash App in the description. Now, let's get into today's topic.
In the shadows, where the truth lies, Marv's on the case, with justice in her eyes. Unsolved mysteries, voices lost in time. She digs deeper, uncovering the crime. Beyond the evidence, she'll fight the fight. Beyond the evidence, where justice matters. Marv's the voice for the voiceless, breaking all the patterns, facts and theories, clues and controversies. Join the journey, uncovering the mystery. This is Beyond the Evidence, where justice prevails, with Marv leading the way. Truth never fails. Now get ready for this live stream. Super chat, highlight your message. Don't fall victim to the irrelevance. Hit that like, share, subscribe to Marv's Beyond the Evidence. True Crime Rewind podcast. Digging into the dark and mysterious world of the missing and murder. You seeking answers, but you never know what you'll find last. When you rewind. This is the True Crime Rewind podcast. True Crime Rewind. This is the True Crime Rewind podcast.
Hello, everyone. How are you? Let's bring on our co-host, Anthony.
What's going on, YouTube? I'm Anthony Greeno from the True Crime Rewind podcast, or Investigation Unsolved. Still here. What's going on, everybody? How the hell are you?
Well, Anthony, we had some more documents drop on the Delphi murder case.
It's never going to end.
It's never going to end.
I'm going to be talking about this until I'm 90 years old.
Pretty much. It seems like it.
I pretty much know. I know. It's guaranteed now. So what are the documents? I know that we had a response from Nick McClelland on the motion to correct error. What else do we have filed here?
Well, before we even get to that part, we have a motion to intervene. And I'm going to put this up. It is from NBCU's motion to intervene and to compel access to public trial exhibits. Now, if you don't know who NBCU is, it is Dateline. They are fighting the fight for us. trying to get access to these documents.
Which, you know what? This is actually right along the same lines. I was talking to Sterling about it the other day, of something that I was getting ready to file, because I feel that they're not doing things the right way. And if someone doesn't try, and cause a fuss about it, then nothing's going to change. And this has to change, because they're not letting anybody do anything with this case, especially like the public. And we have the right to see all that.
Right. And that's what NBC is, or that's what Dateline is saying here, is that they were told that after the transcripts were completed for the appeal, that they could view them. But people actually want copies of these so that we can show the public.
That's kind of what
I don't know what's going on.
Well, I agree with that, because when I wrote them, she responded back with, yes, we're going to let members of the media come in and inspect the documents and exhibits after the appeals court gets the paperwork. So,
but that's coming in and inspect them, Anthony. That's not getting a copy of them so that we can show the public what they are.
Exactly. That's why I asked in my letter for a copy, copies of them, not just to inspect them, because I want to be able to take a copy and show it to the public.
Right.
And for them to say to anybody that those are sealed under a court order, that's not right, because the court order states specifically what is under that order, and it's crime scene photos and things to do with his mental health records.
Right. Everything else should be fair game for us to get.
Especially if we saw it in court.
Right.
I don't understand why the secrecy, other than potentially another person involved or something somehow, and they don't want to tip that off.
They're trying to hide something, that's for sure.
For sure. And I'm getting a little irritated that they don't tell us something about it.
So, the first part of this document is Dateline's motion to intervene, stating that they had been denied the request, that they were referred. Then they went to Carroll County. Carroll County told them they had to go back to Allen County. It's just a big mess, and they're just trying to hide everything, and nobody understands why.
Nobody understands why, and I almost guarantee it's because of something else. I mean, they're still working on testing DNA from the crime scene that they never got really, able to do a full test on, because they don't have a big enough profile, so they're waiting on advanced technology to come out.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what if something comes out and says that DNA is not his, it's some other dude's?
Right.
Does he get arrested? You know what I mean? I
Right.
mean, just because it's his DNA, does he get arrested? I mean, that could be circumstantial as well.
Yeah. I'm not sure what they're doing here.
So what they're doing is they're listing these exhibits as their evidence. And when they this is the court order from November 3rd. This is a safekeeping order when the Diener approved and granted the sheriff's motion to move Allen to the DOC.
Right.
And that's when he recused. So they're using this as evidence to say that he didn't have an attorney present when this all happened. But I mean, quite honestly, it looks to me like he didn't have an attorney for a short period of time.
Right.
And
this is all the state's response, you guys. This is what they've sent in to counter the defense's motion to correct the errors.
So what were the errors? Do we remember what those errors were? They wanted certain things corrected.
The fact that he had an attorney.
Okay. It should state it right here, yeah.
the phone having something plugged into it, the confession of Ron Logan, and the time being off for Brad Weber's van.
Okay. Gosh, I wish I was fully edited with these videos that I've got. Because I think people's minds are going to be blown when they see this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Some of the stuff that we were filming and doing the other day. I don't hold any weight to the Ron Logan confession, obviously, and I think McClelland came out and said something about that. I think I saw that on the news just
Right.
before we started streaming. Did he come out and say something about that?
I don't know if he has said anything in interviews yet about that.
Okay. He hasn't? Okay. I thought there was something on it. Something about Ron Logan's confession. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong here.
Yeah. So some of these exhibits, everybody, are just the emails going back and forth regarding the FOIA requests for those exhibits and what they were told. So Dateline has specifically put those emails in here.
Okay. All right. And you know what, dude? There is an update. There is an update on circumstances involving Ronald Logan and this says the state says. Did they write something in this motion here that says something about that? They might have.
Their responses in here to the motion of correcting errors, but we haven't gotten that far yet. So in this order that was on October 28th, 2022, State of Indiana appears by Nicholas C. McClelland, prosecuting attorney. Defendant appears in person in custody of the Sheriff of Carroll County, Indiana. Defendant is advised of his rights to counsel and of his constitutional and statutory rights, the charges against him, and the possible penalties. Defendant advises the court he intends to hire private counsel. Defendant is advised that he must retain counsel within 20 days as there are deadlines associated with the hearing, which may be waived if not timely pled. Pleas of not guilty are entered. A hearing is set for January 13th, 2023 at 9 a.m. and the trial by jury is set as a first setting on March 20th, 2023 at 9 a.m. Defendant is ordered and directed to appear on said dates.
You know what?
So
that stuff right there that you just read,
that's going towards the fact that this Gibson was apparently hired to represent him.
Well, I've got a rebuttal for that one, and it's going to be in my new podcast, but I will say it here now. So I did a timeline match and looked at all this stuff.
Okay? Yeah.
Now, you have Brett Gibson, who is hired the day after Richard Allen is taken into jail on the 27th at 6 o'clock in the evening. That night, he sends an email to the sheriff's department and to the state saying that he is Richard Allen's legal counsel and to cease communication with him. So 5 days later, a postmarked envelope from the White County Jail comes from Richard Allen asking for a public defender because he said the costs are too high.
Right.
And at that moment, it is 100% fair to assume that Kathy paid him $5,000 for a retainer.
Yep.
He took the retainer, and then when he couldn't get him just straight out of jail that night by just making a phone call, he basically probably sat down with her and him, or her at least, and said, it's going to cost a few $100,000 to go to trial in this case. And she's probably like, yeah, I don't have that. And he's like, well, sorry. So he either gave that money back being nice, or he kept it like non-refundable retainers usually are. So, I mean, that would suck if I hope he was nice enough to at least give that back.
Right.
So, I mean, but that right there, what you just read, they read that to you every single time you go to court.
Yeah.
I have it memorized. Pre-omnibus order. So this is where, okay, so the pre-omnibus order, so this is basically where they talk about the rules for the parties. And in this, they talk about how discovery is listed, when it's supposed to be given.
Yep.
The attorneys will have to meet like one time, at least at the beginning of the case, and get established like, hey, I'm the attorney, I'm the prosecutor, and we're going to be communicating from that point on.
And names and addresses of witnesses and exhibits.
That's all listed in discovery. Yep. Discovery is everything that you plan on using at a trial, whether that's the state planning on it or you. If you don't list it, you cannot use it. So most people don't realize that. If you don't write it down, you can't use it. It could be the star witness, the person that saw everything happen. If you didn't put that person down, they're not testifying.
And talks about a plea agreement, witnesses and exhibits, jury instructions, all that. Okay.
Hey, Jinx. What's up, Randy?
The request by the sheriff to transfer inmate from the custody. You know, I believe we've seen most of this before.
We have. And it's cited in law, ladies and gentlemen, that the judge or the sheriff, anybody can move him if they deem that there is a credible threat to him, and they listed it as imminent danger to him. Therefore, they found probable cause to take him.
Here we go.
Yes, this is it.
Nick, now this is Thursday, November 3rd, 2022, from Brett Gibson to Nick McClelland.
The other half of the story.
At this point, I do not believe I will be hired to represent Richard Allen going forward. I want to send him a letter of disengagement so there's no confusion. Can you confirm with me where he is so that I can send him a disengagement letter?
Bam. Exactly. See, Richard Allen wrote that letter on the 1st, indicating that they had talked to him. It was postmarked on the 1st from November.
And November 3rd was the safekeeping.
Exactly. So
hearing.
he didn't have an attorney at that time.
No.
See? And so he didn't have one. He wrote and asked for a public defender 5 days in that it's in that loop time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he wrote it in between Gibson removing himself on the day of the safekeeping order, at least telling him he did, and he wasn't going to represent him, because he never actually filed that appearance. And by the law, you have to file an appearance to represent a client. Other than that, it's just taking money. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So, yeah, affidavit by Tobe Lesenby. That's where Tobe is saying that the guy is not safe in here.
Yeah, that he was moved to White County Jail due to overcrowding.
Which they do that to damn near everybody. I mean, they moved me to Logansport, so I went to Cass County. Safekeeping in compliance with IC 3533.11.1. That in my motion, I cite the reason for safekeeping due to the safety and security of the defendant to protect the jail staff and other officers handling the defendant due to extensive coverage of the case by an array of various media platforms. That the court at no time gave me legal advice on the motion pertaining to safekeeping, that there was no attorney listed as attorney of record for the defendant when I filed my motion. It says it right in Tobe Lesenby's motion that he filed a long time ago.
Yep.
There was no attorney listed as an attorney of record for the defendant when I filed my motion. Bam. I wish Tobe Lesenby was here to give us a drum roll. So what is this one here? We got order of judgment of the court. So it says the court, having had this matter under advisement following a hearing and having considered the evidence and the arguments of counsel, now finds as follows. The defendant is currently incarcerated in the Westville Correctional Facility under a safekeeping order issued November 3rd, 2022. The court order states that the court finds the defendant is an inmate awaiting trial and is in imminent danger of serious bodily injury or death, or represents a substantial threat to the safety of others. The evidence presented at the hearing on the defendant's motion to reconsider did not support many of the allegations advanced by defendant's counsel. In fact, the evidence presented demonstrated that the defendant is treated more favorably than other inmates housed at the Westville Correctional Facility.
Yep.
That means they're treating him a lot better than everybody else gets. Everybody. In light of evidence presented, the court has reconsidered the original safekeeping order and finds it reasonable and necessary to ensure the defendant's safety and to prevent serious bodily injury to himself. The Department of Corrections has provided and will continue to provide defendant with necessary medical services, including any mental health services. So, I mean, you have a defense team saying all this, that he never got an opportunity to have his attorneys there during the safekeeping hearing, that he was treated horribly at Westville and was sleeping in a tiny little room with just a tiny little mattress on the floor with no table, and he had to eat in the same room as his bathroom, which is what every person in jail does.
Right.
It sucks. It's not made to be fun, you know?
No.
It sucks. So they only told half of the stories, or a piece of a story, and they never ever tell you the whole story. And we've been hearing that
from the beginning.
2 years at least, yeah, from these guys. So I don't know. What's your thought on it?
I agree. Because now we see the other side where this Gibson says he's not going to be his attorney. That was the day of the safekeeping order. That explains why he didn't have an attorney there with him, or a notice of appearance for an attorney, you know. But once again, the defense leaves that part out.
They always leave everything out. Just like they said, there was no indication that it was wet. The phone was wet.
Oh yeah.
What do you mean there was no photographs taken of that phone while I was laying in the dirt? How come we don't have those photographs anywhere? They're in there.
This one here is physical discovery release. And it's telling you that one Seagate 3.5-inch 2-tab SATA hard drive labeled blah blah, containing Allen jail calls, inmate phone calls made by Allen while at Carroll County Jail, White County Jail, and Westville IDOC. All Westville phone calls to 12/1/23. Inmate text or email data related to Allen. Evidence, Blair Fitbit, geofences, neighborhood canvas, 2017, neighborhood canvas, 2019, filing cabinet scans, scanned electronic digital copies of filing cabinet, paper documents, and any data in those files. They were uploaded and current to this date. Then you have Holder, 2006 ceremony, actual video from the Facebook feed of Odin's ceremony. Interviews, 3/14/17, Sandra Harrison interview and phone extraction by FBI in San Diego, California. This file was too large for successful upload to eDiscovery. Then you had photographs, crime scene, autopsy, other follow-up photos. Some photo files were too large for successful eDiscovery upload. Some of these same photos may be contained in eDiscovery release. Gave the 3D rendering, commander, state police photos of crime scene, autopsy, and other investigative follow-ups. German, crime scene photographs. ISP photos, 12/7/22. State police photos of crime scene and other investigative follow-up by CSI technician name and description. Item photos of Allen's water bottle in interview room submitted for evidence. FBI trail cameras, trail camera photographs taken of crime scene. Kramer photos, FBI crime scene photos taken by S.A. Julia Kramer.
That's
Police
the
and
person
coroners.
that we saw, right? That did all that
Yeah.
picture
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. Police and Coroner's Report, Carroll County Sheriff, Indiana State Police, tip DIN C00074. It says some of the reports contained in this file are also uploaded to eDiscovery. Following the eDiscovery release, we discovered that some of the files in Indiana State Police may be incomplete or not populated in eDiscovery. Therefore, all the files in Indiana State Police were copied to this drive, and it gives the name of the drive. FBI Crisis Managed Reporting Software, Orion, is listed below on a separate hard drive. This is the latest download of Orion as of 12/7/23. Any additional information contained in Orion will be uploaded to eDiscovery as Orion threads are made available. Search warrants. All search warrants and court-related documents. Some files were too large for successful eDiscovery upload. Some of the same files may be contained in recent eDiscovery releases, so they had a thumb drive from Todd Click. Files from the thumb drive received from Todd Click. Cell block video. Body camera footage during contact with Allen. Door sheets. Other Westville IDOC reports and documents.
That's the stuff that we couldn't see right there. Those are the
Right.
things that they had to turn. They turned the TV around and did not let us look at that right
Right.
there. It was kind of stupid. We were sitting in there staring at the back of a TV, watching people watch a TV.
For 3 hours.
Yeah, I couldn't handle that.
No, you got up and left.
Yeah, I'm out of there.
I mean, they've got 2.5-inch tab, hard drive, polls, camera at Mears Farm, gate 4. It lists all this stuff in the discovery of what was there. That is what these pages keep going on and on and on about. It's crazy. And then and this is the prosecution proving that this is not new evidence because the defense had this all this time.
These dudes were too lazy, man. These dudes were too busy asking people to lie and pushing shit through social media that they did not do the right thing for him. They tried to push this case and try it in the media by trying to influence someone instead of trying to actually build a real defense because the guy was guilty. And how do you refute that? I mean, how do you get around it, especially when he's sitting there telling everybody that he's guilty? You know what I mean? That he did it and he feels bad and all this shit. So, I mean, but why lie like that? I mean, why try to lie? I mean, it's horrible.
Thank you so much, Typo, for the super chat. Can you give more examples of things that RA didn't have in prison? He had so much more than the regular prisoners, it's not even funny.
That Richard out. Can I give more examples of things that he didn't have in prison? The same thing that everybody else didn't have. Nobody had anything. I mean, nobody has anything. Nobody has any food that you want unless you buy it on commissary. You don't have clothes. You don't have your friends, your family, a phone, a tab. I mean, now they got tablets and stuff, but they didn't have anything like that. It's just sitting in there doing nothing and working, doing your time. Read the rest of the question with the same voice of disgust that Rosie says it. He didn't have vaulted ceilings.
Yeah, exactly. Now, this
He
is
didn't have vaulted ceilings in jail, everybody.
Yeah. This document is Stacy Eldridge. She is the one that said that the phone didn't look wet. So this is her. Looks like her freaking resume right here.
Yeah, they list all their stuff that they're. So Stacy Eldridge. So didn't she? She was a part of what now? So she wasn't a part of anything yet. I know Rick Snay said he interviewed her.
Eldridge, she is the defense witness, I believe, that said that she reviewed the phone and everything and it did not look wet.
I can't remember which one she is. Okay, well, it didn't look wet, probably because it was dried off before it was given to her. You know, that's my guess.
No, she said she saw pictures.
But yeah, okay, but they're only showing her some pictures, just like they always show the expert Turco pictures and said, what kind of Odinist symbol is this? You know what I mean? Like, instead of telling him the truth and saying, is this an Odinist symbol? They're trying to like push it off onto something completely different. You know what I mean?
Hang on, I'm looking here. Hansford. Eldridge.
Hansford, yeah,
yes.
see if you can find those.
No. This is Eldridge. Let me stop sharing here for a minute.
Okay. And what are you going to do now? Pull in something else?
So this is what the defense gave, which said this is the affidavit of Stacy Eldridge. She's the one that said that they were equipped with sensors to indicate water damage. There was no indication in the data from Ms. German's iPhone that indicated the sensor identified water damage. And then none of the above reports or extractions contain evidence of dirt or water damage to Liberty's phone, nor did they indicate it was particularly dirty or covered. The phone does not appear to be wet, dirty, or covered in debris in any of the pictures. Wrong, because
it's clearly wet in the picture. How can they say that? That is a straight lie, man. Like, whoever says that is crazy. People who say stuff like that and look directly at something and say that's not wet when it's just soaking with water.
You look at that, because this is what the prosecutor McClelland attached as an exhibits in his response. That phone has clearly got wetness on the screen. Can you put that up big, Greeno? Do you see all the condensation on the screen here? That's freaking wet. How can she say by looking at the pictures it wasn't wet? That's crazy. Are you there? You're muted.
Oh, sorry. Yep, there you go. So there's water right there.
Yeah, you can clearly see it.
Huh?
You can clearly see the water on the screen.
It could be melted snow. I don't think it snowed. But I mean, it was
there's
really
obviously
cold.
some kind of moisture on there.
I mean, they walked through a creek.
Right.
I mean, that's my guess. But these people were like, no, they didn't walk through a creek. Well, yes, they did. For sure, 100%, guaranteed, they walked through that creek. Ron Logan shit, it's bullshit.
Right.
And I got something for everybody at the end of the stream.
So, state's response to the motion to correct errors. The defendant's motion, okay, so I'm not going to read all of it, but he's would ask the court to deny the same without a hearing. The defendant's motion does not warrant a motion to correct errors because a motion for safekeeping filed by the Carroll County Sheriff is not a critical stage of the proceedings, and the evidence concerning Brad Weber, Ron Logan, and Stacy Eldridge is not newly discovered evidence to warrant a new trial. The state would ask the court to consider the following: that the defendant claims that his 6th and 14th Amendments were violated because he was deprived counsel at a safekeeping proceeding November 3rd, 2022, and that proceeding was a critical stage where he was entitled to an attorney. The defendant further claims that since he did not have counsel at a hearing, the conviction should be overturned. IC 353311-1 states that upon motion by the sheriff alleging that an inmate in a county jail awaiting trial is in danger of seriously bodily injury or death or represents a substantial threat to the safety of others, the court shall determine whether the inmate is in imminent danger of serious bodily injury or death or represents a substantial threat to the safety of others. If the court finds that the inmate is in danger, it shall order the sheriff to transfer the inmate to another county jail or to a facility of the Department of Correction. That the statute,
and I'll tell you why.
That the statute does not require the court to have a hearing to make this determination. The court can make this determination based on the motion alone. So they didn't even have to have the hearing.
Exactly, on the court's own motion, so the court can do it. So see, that's exactly what I cited in my last thing that I was talking about. Exactly that. I said exactly that. That these are the circumstances. If you look at the facts of the situation, you look at the dates on all these things, and you just read the real story in every document that pertains to it, you start to see that there's a lot more than what the defense team says. And there's a lot of people out there that don't listen to anything other than what's said versus reading it and analyzing it. And now we've got these programs that analyze things for us and with us.
Yep. So it says that he was taken into custody on the 26th. On the 28th, he had his initial hearing where he pled not guilty. The court advised the defendant of his right to counsel, and the defendant notified the court that he would hire his own counsel. He at no time stated that he had counsel.
That's because he didn't have counsel when he got arrested.
Right.
Now on the 28th, he probably didn't say anything, and they automatically enter a plea of not guilty for you. So you walk in there and say, I'm not guilty, they automatically do it. They don't even ask you questions. They're like, if you want an attorney, or if you're going to have an attorney, then they just cease everything right there, and you don't do anything more until your attorney does the rest. So it sucks because you're out of the loop for the rest of that time period.
Yep. So then he was moved to White County due to overcrowding. November 2nd, Carroll County Sheriff Toblub Zimby filed a request to transfer inmate from the custody of the sheriff to the custody of Indiana Department of Corrections. November 3rd, they had that hearing. That on November 3rd, the state received an email from attorney Brett Gibson stating he would not be representing the defendant, herein attached as Exhibit 3. That on November 3rd, 2022, the court granted the sheriff's motion without a hearing and determined the defendant was in imminent danger of serious bodily injury of death or represents a substantial threat to the safety of others.
Damn, dude.
The court further noted that the defendant intended on hiring private counsel, further supporting that no attorney had entered their appearance of counsel of record for the defendant.
Drum roll, Tobe Lesenby.
So, they're detailing each and every one. This is still on on the right to counsel and motion for safekeeping. Good God, it just keeps going for pages and pages. Then they get into the Brad Weber testimony.
Okay, now let's. So that's like about the van and all that stuff. So I think we should revisit the van and Brad Weber like at a different time, like the next time, because there's more I want to talk about him, and stuff over there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I kind of want to pick your brain before talking about it on the live stream as well, because there was some information that I don't know. I just figured some things out. You know?
Gotcha.
And it kind of makes sense, and I had some ideas, and I just wanted to see what you thought about it.
Yeah, we can do that. Ricky Davis, claim of confession by Ron Logan, that the defense next argued that Ricky Davis claims that Ron Logan made a confession to him, said claim being newly discovered evidence, entitling the defendant to a new trial. That any information pertaining to Ron Logan falls under the state's motion in limine concerning third-party motive. The defense had 3 days to present evidence to meet the burden for third-party motive. They mentioned Ron Logan, but failed to meet their burden with the court. They chose not to present this evidence in the hearing. They also did not present this evidence when they renewed their motion during the trial. This now seems to be an effort by the defense to use a motion to correct errors in an effort to circumvent their burden concerning third-party motives. That this evidence, along with the video surveillance evidence from the residence, was received by the defense on January 30th, 2024, as evidenced by the discovery release herein attached as State's Exhibit 7. And it just keeps going on.
So State's Exhibit 7.
Yep. That the defense team, consisting of 3 experienced defense trial attorneys, made a choice not to fully explore or present the Ricky Davis claim, which the defense admits was contained in discovery. That the alleged confession was made to an inmate at the Department of Correction named Ricky Davis, who was serving 50 years for dealing in methamphetamine. The law enforcement interviewed Ricky Davis and submitted him to a polygraph at his request. That Mr. Davis failed the polygraph miserably.
You know what? I almost think that we said that word for word before he filed that. I mean, I really mean that word for word.
That Mr. Davis gave a statement that alleged Ron Logan confessed to him that he killed the older girl first and then took the younger one away from the scene, that he killed the second victim later and then brought her back to the scene, that he went back to the scene after search parties searched his property and moved the girls to another location, that he removed all cell phone battery from the girl's phone and left the phone behind, and that he took the girl's clothing from the scene and burned. Many of these details are directly contradicted by the evidence. The others have no evidentiary support. That's exactly what we said.
Do you know what all this means? It means Nick McClelland watches our show.
Well, something.
100%. So yeah, we said these exact things, exactly word for word. So exactly what we said, we thought.
And then he says one other thing. He says that even with the alleged information from Ron Logan about the box cutter, there would not have been enough to establish probable cause to arrest Ron Logan. No evidence placed him at the scene of the murders, unlike the defendant, who left an unspent round at the scene that was subsequently matched to a gun that he owned, that he himself asserted was never in anyone else's possession, who put himself on the bridge at the time of the abduction and wore the same clothing as Bridge Guy.
Yeah, don't take too many coincidences to figure that one out.
Right.
I mean, you said you were there before the crime, you left after the crime, and you were wearing the same clothes as the guy who committed the crime.
Right.
Well, then, you're that dude.
And then he gets on the Stacy Eldridge opinion. That the defense finally alleges that an affidavit by Stacy Eldridge supports that dirt or water did not cause damage in the ancillary jack in order to log wired headphones were plugged in and unplugged. They allege that this is newly discovered evidence that would probably produce a different result at a new trial. That Stacy Eldridge testified at the trial for the defense. She did not submit any report, log, or any other information that supported her position that the log accurately supports that headphones were plugged into and later unplugged from the ancillary jack. That this opinion was only supported by her testimony at trial. That prior to her testimony, she had only done one other forensic phone analysis and had only testified one time prior about a forensic phone analysis. Oh my. That Stacy Eldridge only gained the education to be able to testify to forensic phone analysis as recently as 2023. That the bulk of her expertise is in computer and network forensics, not cell phone forensics. That is why they attached her resume. That
because they wanted to make her look more credible than what she was?
No, that's why the prosecution attached her resume in these documents showing all this.
Gotcha.
That she did not have the expertise to even read phone data until 2023.
Gotcha. So she wasn't certified to do it, so therefore she's not credible.
She's only testified and looked up phone data one other time. That the state called Sergeant Christopher Cecil on rebuttal to testify about headphones in the jack of the phone. Sergeant Cecil was able to observe photos of the phone when it was found, herein attached as State's Exhibit 9, 10, and 11. The Sergeant Cecil did testify that one plausible explanation for the log entry is that there was dirt or water in the jack that caused a malfunction. This is in part based on the condition of the phone, condition that the phone was found in, how long it was outside before it was found, and his knowledge and expertise as a forensic phone examiner. That this is also based on facts found throughout the investigation, including that the phone did not move move after 2:32 p.m. and there were no headphones found with the bodies. It is unlikely that someone returned to the crime scene after 2:32, removed the phone from underneath the body of Abby, plugged headphones into the phone, and then kept those headphones in for 5 hours, unplugged them, and put the phone back underneath the body. We said the same thing.
Said the exact same thing. Said that would be stupid to do. That would make no sense whatsoever. You know what? I'm pretty sure that they just copied what we said on that live stream and put it in there.
I don't know. That the defense's expert, Stacy Eldridge, sat in the courtroom during Sergeant Cecil's testimony, and the defense had the opportunity to recall her as a witness to rebut Cecil's testimony, but chose not to. That there's nothing in log reports or extractions.
Call Ricky Davis and Keegan Klein.
Yeah, that would indicate whether or not the phone had some kind of water damage, because that kind of damage is not registered in the logs, reports, or extractions of the phone. And that's what I was saying. I know that I get a message on my phone, but I don't know if it's going to show up in the reports. That again, at best, this is impeachment evidence that could have been brought out in testimony during trial in an effort to impeach Sergeant Cecil's testimony. This is not newly discovered evidence to warrant overturning the conviction. The same analysis that was used in the above evidence concerning Brad Weber and Ron Logan would apply to this evidence as well. It's not newly discovered evidence, but is impeachable evidence, and therefore cannot be the basis for a motion to correct errors.
Strike 3.
Yeah.
That's strike 3. They struck out on every single point they made. But they
Right.
made 4.
Yeah.
What's the 4th one? The judge is corrupt.
Well, no. The first one was the fact that he had an attorney, where Nick clearly got evidence from this attorney stating he was not Richard Allen's attorney. Then you had the Ron Logan confession, completely discounted that. Brad Weber, we're going to go over the van and everything in this part probably Thursday.
Yeah, and we did go over a part of it already. I mean,
yeah, and then the whole phone jack thing. I mean,
it's the same thing over and over and over again. So it's like, you know what I mean? Like, once these are debunked, then what? Because
if
they are.
anything, all of this is pointing to ineffectual counsel.
Yeah, but they're not ineffective. They graduated law school. What they are is corrupt. That's what that is. That's not ineffective. That's not being incompetent.
Right, but
law.
he can't.
They know.
He can't. Richard Allen can't say that anyways, because he said he was happy with what they did, and he wanted them as his attorneys. So he can't come back now and say he didn't have good representation.
Well, he can try, but that's not going to work. Especially since he wasn't in his right mind to even make decisions at one point.
Yeah.
But yeah, he signed a notarized letter saying, I want my attorneys to stay on the letter. You know what I mean? That don't make no fucking sense. Oh, he can't assist with his defense, but that motherfucker can sure sign a notarized letter saying he wants to keep his attorneys on there.
Yeah. Despicable animals. Yeah, that's what I would call them. Let's see
What are you
here.
looking at here?
Just looking
So
at
what else did they release? So they released those 3 photographs of the phones. Can we put those into the StreamYard, into the media assets?
I only got 1 when you downloaded. Something happened. I didn't get 10 and 11. I only got 9.
All right, I'll send them to you right now. 10 and 11, I'll send them to you right now, and we can pull these up. That way, everybody can see what they look like, because they are clearly wet. Everybody, there's 3 different ones here, and there's also a statement that was made by the defense team, or pieces of statements made by the defense team.
Okay.
There you go.
All right, let me close down this document. Get out of there.
That document is now closed. And let's take a listen to this real quick, ladies and gentlemen.
True crime people, interested in learning about the case, people just talking about the case, all the noise that's happening, whether it's after trial, before trial, standing outside of the courthouse. How did that impact you as the prosecuting attorney in this case?
You try to block it all out and try to focus, like you said, just on the facts of the case, because what happens on a YouTube true crime channel or, through the media, that doesn't really affect the case. You've got to focus on the evidence that you have and the facts of the case, and so you try to block it out. Now, it's impossible to block it all out, especially when it's in your face, when you're leaving the courthouse. Obviously, it affected, I think, probably the family more than me, because there were some personal attacks on the family. I expect personal attacks as the prosecutor. I expect not everybody's going to like me. And so I kind of expected it and didn't bug me. I guess you'd have to ask the family whether it got to them or not. I think some of the community members, it got to them because just so many people bad-mouthing Delphi as a whole and Carroll County and unjustly doing that. And then spend a ton of time trying to scrub the internet of those photos. And so that just takes on top of everything else you're doing with the case. And so it is a huge amount of work to try to do that. The toll, I tried not to think about it much during the trial because you don't want to get consumed with emotion where you kind of take your eye off the ball. I think afterwards it hit me a little bit harder to think, okay, these pictures are still out there, and they're of these 2 little girls. And I think I have so much compassion for the family and how they feel when I mean, people were sending them those photos and, you know, saying, hey, these are out there and those kind of things. So it really took an emotional toll on me afterwards, because I started thinking about the family, and kind of the words that Becky said hit home pretty hard, that it's generational. And, you know, just what I said at the press conference, what if it was your children? And so during the trial, it angered me that those were out there. No reason for those to be out there.
All right, everybody. So are you still looking for it? Did you find it?
No, I got them.
Marv?
Just trying.
You got them?
Yeah, I'm just trying to get my.
And I was just going to show everybody go ahead and pull that up here in just a second. I'm going to show everybody the burden of proof. When you talk about third party, you have to have proof, and he talks about it in this clip right here.
It's okay if you want to use the word theory, but you got to back it up with evidence. And if you want that theory to become a truth, you got to have evidence to back it up. And we live and die by the burden of proof of beyond a reasonable doubt. And so if you can prove a theory beyond a reasonable doubt, then to me it becomes a truth in the court of law. And until then, it's just a theory, and that's just what it is. It's an idea of what you thought happened. And so I don't have a problem with people throwing that word around, but where's the evidence to back it up?
There's been so much time where neither side had an opportunity to say much. It was under the gag order, obviously, for quite some time. What to you did the gag order mean?
Gag order to me was just a reiteration or re-emphasis on the rules of professional conduct that we're bound by. And that is that you should not put out anything in the public that's going to try to taint the jury or elicit a response from the public. And we're bound by those rules. And the gag order is just an emphasis of that, to say, don't talk about this case in the public. Don't put out press releases that try to, you know, condition the public to whether Richard Allen was guilty or innocent. And mainly that was done so that we can get a jury that's not tainted or biased. I really had a fear that we were, regardless of how many people that we subpoenaed in to be for jury duty, that we weren't going to find 12 that hadn't heard about this case.
That's so true. You know that? I was worried about that.
Yeah.
And there were people trying to connect with the jurors and like influence them. And we saw it in premeditated text messages.
And look how many we got that didn't know anything about it. There was at least 4 to 5 on there.
Well, they said they didn't know anything about it.
Right.
But we don't know. We never really will know if they did or not. But they said they didn't. So I don't know. So what do we have here? We have these 3 photos.
Yep. So this is the first one.
Okay. Do you know how to put them into the StreamYard? You don't know how to do that? To upload them in the media assets?
I tried to do this and it wouldn't let me.
So you just upload it to the overlays.
Oh, to the overlays.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And those are like photographs that we can put on the screen. It'll show the whole photograph.
All right, hang on.
So in the meantime, ladies and gentlemen.
Nope, the first one is in there.
It is?
Second
Okay.
one's in there.
All right, let's check it out.
And the third one will be there shortly.
All right, so there they are. So these are the pictures. Can you guys see it? You can't see it that well, can you? Let me see what you guys are looking at on the screen here. So it looks like you can't really see it that well, can you?
No.
Okay.
That's why I was doing it the other way so that I could
go ahead and do it that way. Yeah, zoom it. Yeah, where you can zoom into them.
All right, hang on.
Okay, we got that. So check this out, ladies and gentlemen. So they say there's no in this document that they filed.
There.
It says clearly in the document, it says, let's see, what's the wording here? I need to find it. It says these key points. None of the above reports or extractions contain evidence of dirt or water damage to Liberty German's iPhone 6S, nor did they indicate that it was particularly dirty or covered in debris. I reviewed photos of German's iPhone 6S taken by the Indiana State Police. The phone does not appear to be wet, dirty, or covered in debris in any of the pictures. No pictures were taken of the phone displaying a message indicating that liquid had been detected. No pictures were taken of the control center of the phone operating system to document the headphones were plugged in as being reported when they were not. I reviewed the chain of custody for Liberty German's iPhone 6s, and I did not it did not document that it was received in a wet, dirty, or damaged condition upon receipt.
Right.
iPhones that have recent water damage are known to reboot spontaneously, requiring multiple attempts to complete extraction with forensic tools. No instances of this were documented or reported by ISP, and I'm unaware of any scientific research that suggests the phone got wet. The phone is wet. There's enough scientific research for me to say that
It's
phone got wet.
dirty and wet.
And it's got debris on it.
Yeah.
How are they going to lie like that? They're stupid. They're stupid. They make themselves look dumb, and these are the dumbest attorneys ever. How are they going to say that there is nothing like that there? And it's opposite completely. You know what? Now I know why they didn't look me in the eye when they walked out of court that day. Why they both looked. He looked straight to the ground, and Rosie didn't even look the other way. He turned around and whistled.
Here's the second photo.
You can't even look me in the eye, dude.
Still covered in debris.
Can't even
And
look me in the eye and lie. You can just let the lie on a piece of paper. It's sinners and podcasters.
there you go. And there's the third one. Same thing.
Yeah, water. Can you zoom in on it further? Like up into that area under there, like in between the leaves? It's like at the big water spots. Yeah, look at that. That thing's got water all over it.
You got to remember, not only that whole area was saturated in blood.
I know. That doesn't appear to be blood, but it doesn't mean it's not.
Right.
And she was laying on it. So think about that. I mean, in the phone. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I mean, it was also laying under her. So think about like the like how it would have got wet being under her. Was she
Right.
wet? You know what I mean? Like
Right.
that would only make sense. She was wet, and she's laying on top of it,
Right.
and it's wet. You know what I mean? So that's just my guess on that. What do you guys think? What do you think in the crowd here?
Crazy.
Are those phones wet or not? We should start a poll for that. I'll go start a poll on my channel.
All right. I am going to do something here. Hang on. Where is it?
What are you looking for?
Here we go.
How was there moisture on the screen? We were just talking about that. If there's moisture on the screen, if her body was laying on it because her body was probably wet, she walked right through the creek.
Here we go. I just gave out 5 memberships for Beyond the Evidence. Davey Breedlove, Shane, Miracle Hearts, and Steph, and Phil Bond were given those free memberships.
Congratulations, ladies and gentlemen. You have won free memberships. Someone was talking to me the other day. They're like, man, I missed you doing that radio shit. And I'm like, you know what? I miss it too. And it'll be here soon enough. Trust me. So there it is. I mean, I guess you can't refute that. It's wet. They're wet, everybody. Those things are wet.
They're wet.
I think. I mean, what does everybody, I don't know. What's everybody think? I want to take a poll in my thing here. I'll be right back.
How do I do the poll?
You go over to your YouTube channel on a different page and set the poll up right there in your chat.
Here we go.
And there's a video of a new segment I wanted you to play.
Hang on.
Here, I think I put it in the private chat. I'm going to send it to the private chat now. It's a news article from 7 hours ago.
All right, I started a poll too.
All right, I'm trying to get mine up right now. I'll be right back.
Oh,
so at some point during the stream, I have something to show everybody.
Looks what to me.
And then something for everybody to listen to. Huh?
When Linda says looks wet to me.
It does. I mean, I think it is.
Yeah. Hey, Sleuth, how you doing? Oh, let's see here.
I was wanting to remind everybody about the 13th and 14th that I'll be at the trail. If anybody wants to go there and be there on those days, which is the anniversary. Yeah, if anybody wants to just meet and greet, it's not like it's going to be kind of a trail walk for me, but it'll be my last one. So it's just like the final stamp on this for me. So the 13th and 14th that marks my last 2 days on the Delphi case, because shortly after that, I'm heading out to a jury trial.
Yep. Okay, so what is it that? What is it that
I
you wanted
put it
to
in
play?
the private chat. I think that's the same thing.
All right, so how do I see the results of the poll?
You wait till you end it.
Oh.
So you wait till you got to end the poll later on here in a little bit, in a few minutes, let people vote and stuff like that on it. And then once the poll's ended, you go in there and you go back and you hit end, and then you copy and paste it, put it down in the StreamYard so you can see it. Is the phone wet? Yes or no?
Do you want to go ahead and show the video that you're going to show?
But I don't know if I can share it. So I think you would have to share it. I put it in the private chat.
All right, hang on.
What's up, everybody? Okay, there it is. Yeah, I wanted to see what this was all about. And it's muted right now. We can't hear it.
Okay. Hang on one sec. Anthony, put it back up there.
I did.
Okay.
Still can't hear it. Oh, you have to share your screen again. Share your screen and click.
Oh, that's what it is.
Yep, you got to check that box. In the meantime, here's Dude.
Greeno, take that off. Got it. Okay.
I couldn't stop it.
Here we go. I'm going to put it back at the beginning.
The Carroll County prosecutor is asking the judge to deny a hearing on the defense's motion to try to throw out the conviction of Richard Allen. In today's filing, Nicholas McLeland, the prosecutor, pushed back on multiple claims from the defense.
Yeah, last year, a jury found Richard Allen guilty in the murders of Abby Williams and Libby German, who were killed in 2017. In the defense's motion last month, the defense team included video that they claim doesn't exactly line up with the state's timeline for the murders. The video placed a van near the scene at 2:45, but the state told the jury the van disturbed Allen around 2:30. Well, now the prosecutor argues that video's date and time are unverified and that the defense team is making assumptions about it.
The defense's arguments also included a claim of an alleged confession by a different person who you see here. They said the man that owned the property where the girls were found, Ron Logan, told a fellow inmate he killed the girls with a box cutter. In a new filing, McLeland said that inmate failed a polygraph test, and many of the details were contradicted by the evidence in this case. So we're still going through all the documents in the filing, as well as McLeland's response.
You can read more from his argument and from the defense team's motion on our website at fox59.com.
I'm sure you know,
You know
by
what?
now
That pisses me off,
there-
dude, because you know what? I'm pretty sure that we told everybody that.
What's that?
Like the day that all that other shit came out, we told everybody exactly what they said. Now we said a week ago,
Yeah,
word for word,
I know.
literally
Isn't it
word for word, identical. I bet we could go back and find that, look through that live stream and find exactly those sentences said in there, which is eerily weird. See, this is all why I should be voted sheriff.
No. But
I would make it great. So,
no. All right.
all right. I've got, as on our way out of here, I've got one thing to play. We've been on a stream for an hour, and I got something to talk about February 14th and 13th. So what we're trying to do is get the community center to where we can utilize that and have like a big meeting room. And we're going to get a place at Pizza Hut again, and we're going to like hang out there and kind of mingle there, and then we can go over to the community center in Delphi.
Okay.
And anybody and everybody's welcome to be there. It doesn't matter who you are, you can come, and if you want to contribute to something, you can bring food or whatever you want. If you just want to come to meet people, come to meet people. But don't come with nefarious reasons, please, because it's just a place of peace, and we just want to close this out respectfully and peacefully.
Right.
You know? So my new podcast talks a lot about what they talked about in these filings today. It talks about why did they think Richard Allen was in danger from the public. And
Well, come
also
on. That's a no-brainer.
well, I mean, other inmates don't take them, you know what I mean? So why would they feel like he was in such danger?
Family members said that they were going to get him.
I know there was allegations that I may have said that. I don't know, but there was also, you know, the other situation that happened in Carroll County somewhat years ago that where they hung a man. I mean, they hung a guy. They broke into the jail and hung a man.
Yes, they did.
Just down the road. You know? So, I mean, like, think about that. Like, it wouldn't take much for people to go overpower that police department because there are not that many people there. You know what I mean? In the whole town, there's not that many.
Yeah, not to mention there was only one jailer at the time.
Exactly, and it's still like that. If there is, there's two. Oh, yeah. It's not, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, that's not a lot.
No.
That's why Delphi stepped up their game and spent all this money because they needed to upgrade because they were living in past times. I mean, you know, from being here, everyone else knows that comes here. Delphi is living in the past. Everything's old. When you see the old school, tell everybody about when you first saw the canal. Like when I took you there, and I was like, "This is real Delphi."
Oh my God, that was amazing. Seeing all the old buildings and the old houses, what it looked like then. If you haven't seen that, boy, we need to show you some videos because you want to talk about Old Town? Yeah, that's exactly what it looks like.
Yeah, and the horse and buggies
Yep.
going by while we're having court.
Yep.
You know, it's like people don't. I don't think people believe me when I say stuff like that on live streams or whatever. They think I'm just like embellishing the fact that it's Indiana and the country. But no, I'm being 100% serious. Carroll County puts the stamp on country in Indiana for real, like cornfield country.
Yeah, I agree.
It does. All right, so I'm going to go through here and end my poll. So I'm going to go back to my thing, and I'm going to end my poll. So if you guys are there, go ahead and end it. And I'll tell you what mine is. This is 100%. So these people that are over here on this one said there was 100% said yes.
How are you getting the results?
So hit end poll. So you click on it, and then you click end poll. And when you click on end poll, it will show you like the results or whatever right on your chat.
Did I did start a poll. How come I can't hit end poll?
You can. You just go back to the poll on YouTube.
All right, hang on. I don't think I did it right.
Let me go to your channel and see. Let me see if I can see it from the other side here. I'll go to Beyond the Evidence and take a look. See if the poll pops up when I come into the chat. It does pop up.
Well, then how come I'm not seeing it over here?
I don't know. I can't see what you're seeing. And that reminds me, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to learn how to be a YouTube creator and learn how to edit videos, then you should join my creator class where I sit back and watch you guys get frustrated because you can't figure out the buttons.
So 94% think it was wet.
94%. And the other 4 are crazy. So
so yeah.
So there you go. There you go. That is funny, actually. So I've got this thing here. Let me share this to you. Okay, so for our out today, I need to share this and play it. I'll drop it right here. Right there it is. And don't subscribe to the memberships on this channel here on Investigation Unsolved. I'm going to demonetize this channel here, have no monetization on ad revenue, so you don't get any live stream ads during streams. Maintain this channel, and if you want to contribute, you can contribute through PayPal or Cash App, which our links are listed in the description of each video and on the podcast, which is located on Spotify and YouTube.
Yep, and just letting you all know, be prepared. I have a video coming out on Caleb Collins, and we're working on one for Michael Vaughn too. So
Caleb Collins it will be aired tomorrow evening, I guess.
Tomorrow
probably
evening. Okay.
Tomorrow or whenever you want. I mean,
yeah,
I guess.
Tomorrow.
Are you going to do a live with it, or are you just going to air it?
Just air it.
Okay, so it's going to be a live airing for Beyond the Evidence, Marv's channel on Caleb Collins, everybody. So there you go. And that's an interesting story, and it's going to remind you a lot about Amaya Robertson, Harmony Montgomery. I mean, it's got a little combination of all of those combined.
Yep, and I have an update on Harmony Montgomery case too. They took it to the Supreme Court, so I have to do an update on that one too. And I have an update coming up on Elijah Vu also. So there's going to be a lot of different stories, some updates from past ones we've done, some new ones. So going to keep plugging away.
Awesome. That sounds pretty cool. And so I will be getting back to doing more stuff here soon, ladies and gentlemen. I've just been preparing and getting some really cool stuff underway. So you guys are going to like it. And like we were talking about last time, if you have a trial in mind that we talk about on these channels, and you really want us to cover it, and the majority rules that, I'll go to it. I'll go to it and be there and get footage and stuff like that and ask questions that you guys want, because that's what I like to do. So that's what I'm going to start doing here. And that's what I've been preparing for and building up, as well as video editing. So I hope you guys can make it out on the 13th and 14th. If you do, bring something if you can. Leave it at the memorial. It's like the last token of finally, it's over with.
Yeah.
In my opinion, it's over with.
It's not over. We know that.
Well, it's not over in their eyes, but I don't think they're going to ever give up. But
until we get a response from the Supreme Court on this, it's not over.
Scott Peterson keeps saying that too. You know what I mean? 20 years later.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. 20 years from now, if I say the bridge guy's still trying it, then so be it. Keep trying, buddy.
All right, you're gonna sign us out?
Yeah. Do you want to share that video? I think you can share it on that thing. Can you share it? I don't know if I can.
Share what video?
It's that link I sent you. I'm gonna play this as our out.
Oh.
It's got my sponsorship affiliates in here. So, and ladies and gentlemen, so if you're interested in using Opus Clip, learn how to use a multi-model AI clipping tool to take any moment from any video, then you're going to have a tutorial on how exactly I make these videos using these programs, and how I can take an hour-long video and turn it into 60 one-minute videos with the click of a button. So enjoy this. This is some new stuff that just kind of put together, make it on the big screen, and then I'll share it. Did you share the audio?
Yeah, I shared the audio this time.
Okay. And then
all right, everybody, I'm Marv. I'm signing out for the night. Remember, justice matters to all the victims and their families.
And I'm Anthony Greeno from the True Crime Rewind podcast. Will you put that on a big screen? There you go. All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, on that note, until next time, which will be tomorrow time for me, keep it to that, y'all. Go ahead. It's muted.
Murder on the mountain, it echoes through the years. The past comes back to haunt me as the truth appears. On the high bridge called the Mana, mystery unwinds. Is justice blind as the past intertwines? Murder on the Mana, murder on the Mana. The story's remembered forever. A community left without answers. Just wants to know what went on that sad day when there was murder on the Mana. Each step we take, memories away. A tragic end, for goodness sake. Voices whisper through the trees in the heartland where shadows see. We stand on the edge of knowing, with every cold wind blowing. After years of lies and deceit, we seek justice, won't accept defeat. Through the darkness, the truth we fight to bring to light what's hidden from sight. No more secrets, no more fear. The path to justice is finally clear. Murder on the long run, it echoes through the years. The past comes back to haunt me as the truth appears. On the high bridge called the long run, mystery unwinds. It's justice blind as the past intertwines. Murder on the long run, murder on the long run. Their stories remembered forever. A community left without answers, just wants to know what went on this sad day when there was murder on the long run. Murder on the long run. 8 years unknown, it's time to unlock it all.
It may be today, it may be tomorrow.
Unlock the mystery, the story untold, the pain they've left behind, and the answers we're about to find. The church bell rings. The tarot tips to a slow, heavy chord progression. I've been searching for years, never giving up the fight.
It's the only 24/7 true crime broadcast network, plus free episodes online, true crime podcasts, news, and more, all in one place.
I love this part.
It's one destination for your fascination. Justice Network becomes the True Crime Network.
When shadows fall and the silence grows, we're the voices for the lost, the ones nobody knows. True crime calls, and we answer the sound, searching for the truth where it's rarely found. We take a case, true crime rewind, unlock the mystery, crossing the line, accountability, transparency, truth and justice all in mind. Like, share, subscribe, and get notified. Follow us on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok. Stay tuned on X Worldwide. We go beyond the evidence, rewind the time. Voices for the victims of unsolved crimes. Like, share, subscribe, and get notified. Follow us on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok. Stay tuned on X Worldwide. We go beyond the evidence, rewind the time. Voices for the victims of unsolved crimes. Dive into the unknown, uncovering corruption, breaking the silence, solving the unsolved. This is more than just true crime. This is justice in real time. Like, share, subscribe, and get notified. Follow us on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok. Stay tuned on X Worldwide. We go beyond the evidence. Rewind the time. Voices for the victims of